Hey, hi all, welcome to the channel. Hope all is well at your end. So today we will talk about two important concepts, that is ROWNUM and fetch first n rows. Okay. So first we will try to understand what exactly these clauses does. Okay. Then how we can use it and what's the difference among these two clauses. Okay. So let's start this particular video. But before that, if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe it. Also, I would like to say thanks to all our viewers who are continuously providing their support to us. So your support means a lot to us and that help us in creating more such content and videos. So please keep watching and keep supporting us. So let's talk about ROWNUM and fetch first n rows only. Okay. So in Oracle, ROWNUM is basically a pseudo column that assigns a unique sequential number to each and every row written by a query. Okay, so basically the syntax of ROWNUM is select column 1, column 2 from table name where ROWNUM less than or equal to 10. Okay, so let's look at the example. Select star from employee where ROWNUM less than or equal to 10. Okay, so in this particular example, it will retrieve 10 rows from the table employee. Okay, so randomly it will pick 10 rows from the table employee and those rows will be displayed. Okay. So fetch first clause, that is also limit the number of rows written by a query. Okay, this is available after version Oracle 12c. Okay, so before 12c this particular feature is not available. In such cases we'll have to use ROWNUM only. Okay, so basically syntax of fetch first clause is select column 1, column 2 from table name, order by column name, fetch first n rows only. Okay, so let's look at the example. Select star from employee, order by emp underscore name, fetch first 10 rows only. Okay, so this query will basically retrieve 10 rows from the table employee. Okay, on the basis of employee name. Okay, so first it will be sorted on the basis of employee name, and from that particular result set 10 rows will be displayed. Okay, so the important difference here is that in case of ROWNUM, first ROWNUM gets applied. Okay, and thereafter sorting and other things take place. Okay, whereas in case of fetch first clause, first it will sort data on the basis of order by clause. Okay, then limiting clause, basically fetch first clause, that is applied. Now let's try to understand the difference between ROWNUM and fetch first n rows clause. Okay, so as I said, ROWNUM is basically assigned before any ordering is applied. Okay, which means if you have an order by clause, it can lead to unexpected results or some inconsistency in your results. Okay, but in case of fetch first n rows, okay, first order by clause will be applied and then after row limiting is applied. Okay, so this will provide more consistency and system will ensure that you will get accurate result for each and every execution of the query. Okay, fetch first clause is only available after Oracle version 12c. Okay, so if we want to use the similar sort of functionality, then we'll have to go ahead with ROWNUM. Okay, so ROWNUM is an older method. Okay, that leads to some confusion. Okay, and we'll have to use carefully when we are using order by clause with ROWNUM. Okay, fetch first n rows is more straightforward techniques. Okay, and it is basically preferred choice in modern Oracle SQL. Okay, now let's try to understand difference between these two using one example. Okay, so let's say we have a requirement where we'll have to retrieve top 5 employees, those are having highest salary. Okay, so let's first see how we can write this particular query using fetch first clause. Okay, so let's look at the first query. Okay, in this particular query, we are select employee underscore ID, employee underscore name, salary from employees, order by salary descending because we would require top 5 salaries. Okay, and then fetch first 5 rows only. Okay, so this will basically give us top 5 employees name, those are having highest salary. Okay, now let's try to write the same query using ROWNUM. Okay, so in this particular case, what we'll have to do, first we'll have to write one query, okay, basically subquery, where we'll have to sort data on the basis of salary, okay, and thereafter we'll have to apply ROWNUM. Okay, so in case of ROWNUM, it's not that much straightforward. If we'll not use subquery, then we may face inconsistency and our result will not be accurate. Okay, so first we'll have to use subquery, wherein we can sort data, and thereafter we can apply ROWNUM, so that we can achieve the same results whatever we are achieving through first query. Okay, now let's try to understand how these queries will be executed by Oracle engine. Okay, so in first query, first like employee ID, employee name and salary, this data will be selected by from the table employees. Okay, thereafter it will be sorted on the basis of salary. Okay, and from there top 5 rows will be picked and displayed. In second example, okay, what we'll have to do, first we'll have to sort data. Okay, we cannot straightforward use ROWNUM clause with order by clause, because as per the rule, like first ROWNUM will be applied on the result set and thereafter order by clause will be applied. Okay, now our requirement is that first we'll have to sort data, then we'll have to apply limiting clause, which is ROWNUM. Okay, so what we'll have to do, we'll have to write subquery. Okay, so for that one we are using here select employee ID, employee name, salary from employees, order by salary, DESC. Okay, so here we are selecting these information from the table employee, and then we are sorting on the basis of salary in a descending order. Okay, and on this particular result set we want to put limiting clause. Okay, that's the reason we have put it in a bracket, so which has become basically subquery, and thereafter we are applying ROWNUM. Okay, so I hope now you are able to understand the difference between these two clauses. So let's try to understand the behavior of ROWNUM using some example. Okay, so let me write one query here, select star from student. Okay, this is the table we created some time back. Okay, just look at the data of this particular table. Okay, so this particular table is having 4 rows. Okay, now let's apply ROWNUM on this particular query. Okay, let's execute it. So it's basically reverting 2 random rows from the table student. Okay, now let's use order by clause in this particular query. Okay, so order by student underscore name. Okay, I want name to be displayed in descending order, so DESC. Okay, now let's execute it again. Okay, so it reverting 2 rows. Okay, and we are having names Mohan and Imran. Okay, now let's look at the data again in the table student. Okay, so select star from student. Okay, with order by student underscore name DESC. Okay, let's execute it. Okay, so this is showing data in a descending order of student names. Okay, so in this particular result, Ram is showing first, and in second we are having Mohan. Okay, so ideally this first query should have written Ram and Mohan. Okay, but rather than Ram and Mohan, okay, it's basically displaying Mohan and Imran. Okay, now why it's happening? Okay, it's happening because ROWNUM is getting applied here first, thereafter order by is getting applied. Okay, what it means? Okay, so how Oracle engine normally execute query which is having ROWNUM and order by clause? Okay, first it will retrieve 2 records from the table student. Okay, 2 random records. Okay, and on that result set it will apply order by. Okay, so that's the reason we are getting here Mohan and Imran. Okay, now let's try to write the same query using fetch first and rows clause. Okay, so I'll write that query here, select star from student, okay, order by student underscore name DESC, okay, fetch first 2 rows only. Okay, now let's execute it. So this is reverting the same results whatever we were expecting. So how this particular query is getting executed? Okay, so first Oracle engine basically applies order by clause on the table student, okay, and thereafter this row limitation feature, which is basically fetch first rows, okay, that gets applied. Okay, that's the reason in this particular case we will get accurate result and consistent results. Okay, I hope now you should be able to understand the difference between these two. Okay, so that's all for today. Hope you would have liked this particular video. Please give your thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you. Keep watching.